Okay, welcome back. So here, I'm not sure why the audio didn't record, but nonetheless, I'll just do a voice overlay here. I've applied the propeller stencils to the propeller, obviously masked off around the stencils, and here I'm taking some thinned Tamiya flat yellow paint, and I'm just applying in very light coats, um, 10 to 15 coats per stencil, and that should do it. What you're going to find is the coverage is going to be just about perfect. Again, you want to stick with light coats. You don't want to flood the mask. There is some, albeit very little risk, of getting some bleed through if you do that. But take your time on this, and the end result, as you'll see, is just fantastic. It really looks the part. Um, These are the basically the data plate stencils for each propeller blade that shows blade angle and all that stuff. It really does add a nice touch. So once that paint is down, I'll pull back the masking tape and then pull off the stencil and reveal what's left behind. And to me, it's art when it's all said and done with. Beautiful. All right, so now that the stencils are on, you can see how beautifully those came out. I mean, there's no bleeding, nothing. And the beauty with these masks, about 90% of them require zero weeding. You simply lift the mask up off of the carrier sheet, position it where you want it, tape off around the perimeter, spray your 10 to 15 light coats of paint, and then peel it off. It's just that simple. As Sven says, life uncomplicated. In fact, it says so right there. One of the things that I like to do is dress up my props with, in this case, Hamilton Standard decals. I've been using these for a long time. They're water slide. I've used vinyl before, but these are a little bit more authentic. And the rub-ons are really good too. So we're going to apply those right now. I've cut these down, and we'll dip it in some warm water. Allow that decal to release, and then we'll slide it off into position and squeegee off the excess water. A little bit longer yet. And then what I'll do once everything is dry is I'll put a coat of clear satin over the entire prop. That's mainly just to protect that water slide decal. Because if you end up flying through rain or something like that, that decal will likely erode. All right, so it's ready to come off. We'll just kind of let it sit there, and we'll get it in the right position, which will basically be centered on the blade. And in this case, we're looking at about 80 millimeters from the tip of the prop. And I'll use that same reference for the other side. We'll squeegee that off, and then blot off the excess with some paper towel. There we go. Looks pretty sharp. And then we'll repeat for the other side. All right, both decals are on, and as you can see, looks pretty sharp. I'll clear this, and gosh, we're gonna get this mounted on the Mustang because we are about ready to finish this bad boy up. All right, so started to apply the nomenclature to the underside of the wing. Starting on the bottom first, just to refine my technique. You know how that goes. We've got the airbrush all loaded up, and the paint I'm using is Tamiya XF63, which is it's It's a very dark gray. It's a German gray. Over surfaces like aluminum, you really don't want to go pure black. It just doesn't give off the real authentic look. And what I found is when you used more of a gray or dark or a black gray, it tends to look much more realistic. So we'll just go ahead and gently just apply some light coats right over that mask. Nice thing about using an airbrush is you don't necessarily have to mask everything off so much. You just simply have much more control with the spray pattern. So I've got a very fine spray pattern going on here, and we're going to do about 10 to 15 coats. Just real light coats. This, to me, a paint dries really fast, which is really nice. Cool. That should do it. Take off the protective masking tape, and for this I use a clean edge delicate surface tape by 3M. This or frog tape works out pretty well. I found that the frog tape sometimes leaves a residue, whereas this 3M tape does not. It's good if you fold over a corner. It just makes it easier to lift up the mask. You can use tweezers, or in this case, I'll just use my fingers. Oh, wow. That looks so good. I'll give you a close-up view of this to really appreciate it, but man, I tell you. You don't want them to be too overbearing. It's just incredible. You know, just the definition is just unreal. So here we are after the mask has been removed. Really looks the part. And, you know, it's so tiny. These letters are so tiny. It's incredible that you don't have to weed anything. Really super high quality stuff. Love it. Well, we're going to get on to doing more of these things, and yeah, I'll check back in. All right, so I've got all the masking removed. Now it's time to reveal the stencils on the bottom side of the wing. Oh, I love it. I really love how much detail these things really add. Some people might not feel that it's important, and I totally get that. But for the scale aficionado, it sure is a neat touch. And I find it, you know, just incredible as to how great the resolution is. Just got to weed the inside of this D out. There we go. And the beauty of it is just how easy focus, there we go, it is to do it. You know, I think one of the biggest time tasks is just it's finding the right stencils. There's so many of them. And this one there's like 125. Look at that, it looks so great. It's awesome. And then just matching them up with the locator sheet, which is done really, really well. Looks like I got a little overspray there. I can rub that off, no big whoop. And just the last two here. There, perfect. Just a couple of things to weed out of the bee there, but for the most part, well, actually, not for the most part, but the lower surface of the wing is done for the Nomenclature Stencils. Now you get the right idea as to how that works. I'm going to do it to the rest of the airplane, and we're going to get this thing finished up. All right, so one of the larger parts of this process, and I may have mentioned it before, is just masking everything off once you get the Nomenclature Stencils down. And the nice thing about using an airbrush is you have more control, both over spray pattern, quantity, and all that stuff. So you know your chance of getting any overspray is not real likely as long as you're careful. And I found that masking to this extent is plenty. So haven't had any real overspray to deal with yet. I've been using this, it's a little wider Scotch for delicate surfaces masking tape. Looks like it's number 2080. Works out really well. A little more expensive, but very low tack. So it'll do the trick. All right, so it's been about, I don't know, 20 minutes since I painted it. I pulled all the masking off, and then of course I pulled off the stencils, and you can see what we're left with here. Really cool. This fuel 92 US gallons, very, very small. You can see utilizing a gray, a black gray, even over black, that ground here shows up pretty well. Very happy with these results for sure. And there's a gun camera right there as well. So cool. Onto the fuse next. Look at this. Beautiful, came out perfect. Just a 0 and an O to wield, excuse me, to weed. I love it. Not yet, just stop it and so just to reiterate, the cool part, one of the many cool parts about these stencils is you don't have to weed anything. You don't weed when you pull the mask off. After you apply the mask, there's really no weeding either. That's a huge time saver. Occasionally, you'll leave like the middle of a 0 or an O in there, but if you really pull back very slowly, that shouldn't be an issue. Entertainment. So the trick is just to pull back nice and slowly. Everything comes up, left with a perfect stencil. Again, the cool part about using a black gray, when you're over black, it still shows up. It gives it kind of a subtle appearance. Now, this is a very small font. You can see, look at how sharp that is.
Oh my gosh.
Again,
Look at that.
no weeding.
No, we should put a ruler up there. How small is it?
I don't even know. 1.5 millimeters, maybe?
I don't know.
Maybe 2?
Get your micrometer. Micrometer. That's amazing.
Isn't that great?
So amazing. Love it. That's in millimeters?
Yeah. So basically each letter is just over 1 millimeter wide.
And then how tall?
On this particular stencil, about 1.5.
Wow. Look at that. When you look at it, just look at it. Look, is this one tinier? Look at that.
Same size.
Same size. Amazing.
Okay, so the airplane's all together. All of the stencils have been applied. This thing is, it's ready for a test flight. Did the weight and balance on it, as you'll see here. Came out just over 26 pounds, balanced per the recommended CG. So we're going to go fly it next. Stay tuned in the next video for the in-flight video.